I don't think anybody was surprised about the outpouring of grief about Her late Majesty the Queen. But were you slightly surprised about how popular King Charles was so soon? Because I think before he became king, there was certainly some view that people might not take to him quite as well as they had his mother.
That's certainly the case. And that view was actually pushed very hard. And remember, the person pushing that view principally, one has to say it, was the late Princess Diana, who did everything she could, it must be said, to damage Charles's prospects as king. And he survived, not least, of course, because of the Queen herself. The late Queen, Elizabeth II, she's the one who says firmly, I want my son to succeed as head of the Commonwealth. She's the one in one of her last interventions in public life who says, I want Camilla to be queen. So she does what a monarch should do, which is, remember, the whole purpose of monarchy is continuity. She smooths the path to the next generation. It's like a kind of relay race of generations. You don't pass on a baton, and you're not wearing shorts, you're wearing a crown and robes, but you pass that on. And that extraordinary moment of the Queen's death, her funeral, which we all remember, when the crown was removed from the coffin, that extraordinary moment, again, when the wand of office was broken, you had the sense of sovereignty, monarchy moving from one person to another. And I think Charles has grasped the baton very impressively. Now, that doesn't mean that there are not problems. I mean, Harry and Meghan, well,
I was going to ask about that, David. How is King Charles now going to stamp his authority moving forward? How is he going to battle with other people, it seems like, who are vying for a new royal family from across the waters, Harry and Meghan?
I don't think they much matter. I mean, look at the opinion polls today. I mean, a near majority of people not only say they don't much like them, but they actually want them stripped of their titles. I mean, with every passing day, I think with every desperate attempt at taking a little molehill of grievance and trying to turn it into a vast Himalayas of resentment, they become less relevant. And what I think Charles is doing is actually playing a rather clever long game. What I would guess, Esther, he's waiting for them to destroy themselves. So he doesn't actually need to do anything very dramatic. He's just letting events take their course, which I think is a very wise thing to do. I mean, where I think the monarchy went rather badly wrong was what I think has been the only really serious blemish since his accession, which was the handling of the extraordinary affair of Lady Susan Hussey in that bizarre confrontation with this strange lady who was dressed up as a kind of, African queen from a traveling circus. And the way in which the royal family appeared, and we now know it's essentially just the household of the Prince of Wales, to come down so firmly against her, a woman who is, after all, the Prince of Wales' godmother, the longest-serving lady in waiting to Queen, the woman who actually, for heaven's sake, accompanied her to her husband's funeral. To dump her like that was disgraceful. And it also, I think it shows a tone deafness with monarchy. Monarchy is going to have to do two things. It's going to have to balance an old world and a new world.
David, just quickly, obviously we've just heard the news about Pope Benedict passing away. I just wondered of your reflections on Pope Benedict.
Well, there we're seeing a very different thing. We're seeing an organisation which is publicly and totally split. And the papacy of Benedict was a papacy absolutely opposed to the current papacy of Pope Francis. It's an organisation which clearly is fighting its battles almost in public. Again, the papacy is another kind of monarchy. It's an elective monarchy, but it's handling the processes of balancing old and new and transition from one monarch to another much less well than dear old Britain.